Strange.
We are now recording the February 12th, 2016 Small Business Accounting Advisors. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. And we are talking SmartSheets today. Sarah has Mark with her. Hello, Mark. Mark is, I understand, is the discoverer of the SmartSheets.
Yeah, I'm
Mark is the one that started it.
Yeah, I told Sarah about it.
Yeah, and then he didn't see me for like a couple days. I dove in and was just like, addicted. So
Went down the rabbit hole.
definitely a rabbit hole.
My. I'm getting
Then Seth found out about it. Then Martin, next thing you know.
Yeah, I was looking for some sort of project management tool that I could bring up pretty quickly, and was we had Gantt charts and dependencies and all that, and then bring it online pretty quickly. And with SmartSheet being a spreadsheet format, I knew that people would be able to pick it up pretty quick. So
just spoke your name, huh?
Yep.
So a lot of people are using SmartSheets in a lot of different ways. Mm-hmm. Sarah, you're using SmartSheets with your nonprofits.
Right.
Mark, you're using yours with your IT team.
Right.
Dennis was using his. He should be coming on soon to manage his tax prep clients and all the steps that go along with that. Mariette's here. Let's see if she can unmute and tell us how she's using SmartSheets.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Mariette.
Hi.
Hi, Mariette.
How am I using SmartSheets? So I am using SmartSheets for my tax practice. Basically, I created a workflow in SmartSheets last year that gives me an all-encompassing, comprehensive picture of all tax clients and all detailed statuses at one time. And then it also creates a count of where I'm at. So like how many, kind of like a countdown, I guess, which I guess could be stressful for some people, but it's a countdown of how many I have left to do. So I won't show you my real countdown right now because that's going to stress everyone out. And then this year I incorporated that to sync with my 17 hats. So I actually have the workflow that mirrors 17 hats and SmartSheet. So like the same statuses in SmartSheets are the statuses in 17 hats.
Have you been able to figure out how to get the two programs to talk to one another, or you just?
No. I'm not, I'm honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, with 17 hats, I know that it's a work in progress. So I'm going to just, deal with what it does and be really happy with it. And so, yeah, I'm not trying to integrate. I'm not trying to have them like communicate. I'm not trying to almost have like email syncing or like open item syncing, because it's just not going to do that right now. So I'm not going to even consider trying to push that as an option. What I'm doing more is, and I think, last Friday, I have a lot of email automations that I was doing manually before. Like my process, since it's all online, I communicate only on the cloud with my clients. So, through emails, through automatic responses, through go-to meetings when we actually go through their taxes line by line. And so all of that communication can be done through 17 hats. And so that's really where I'm taking advantage of it. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So Sarah, I'm going to turn it over to you. Do you want to show us your SmartSheets?
Yeah, I've got 100 of them. I've been y'all want to see? I've got a couple different, a lot of different ways that I use SmartSheets. The biggest advantage is keeping clients out of emails. I'm actually have a different approach to communicating with the clients, because I want to get the conversations out of all these individual emails and in one location, so that as a manager, I can sit back and keep track of everything that's going on around me. So, and of course, every client is unique. So every time I hit a pain point with a client, regardless of what it is, I'll start thinking about how I can throw it on a Smartsheet. Let's see. Y'all were interested in maybe the bookkeeping side of my practice, where we use it for clients.
Well, let's start with the bookkeeping side.
Okay, let me show you. I have a question. When we did this on a Google Hangout one time, it kept our pictures along the bottom, which made the share screen really, really small. I don't think Zoom.
No, Zoom will keep 4 people up to the side, and you can move it from the top to the side or to the bottom. So you do get a bigger, fuller screen, and we should be able to see much better.
Thinking of the recording I think the recording is just what you're sharing, maybe. Let's see. I want to share just my desktop. No, I'm going to share desktop 1, which will show a little bit of my desktop, right? And then, oh, where'd it go?
Oh, I like your screensaver, Sarah.
Yeah, do you like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to drag. I want to make sure there's nothing confidential on it when I drag it over to my other desktop so they can see. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to, but why is it dragging over my Zoom?
Let's go see.
What?
I want a copy of your screensaver.
Can you
Wait a minute, we've got technical difficulties.
sharing?
Oh, yeah, let me stop. Okay, there it is. I'm trying to get to drag. Okay, what do you see?
Okay, there we go.
Okay,
Can
and
you
then
not share an app?
I don't. Okay,
Yeah,
there.
okay.
All right. Is it? Should I blow it up some more, or can you? What what I'm trying to do is the beauty the feature that I want to show you is how you can design your columns based on whatever you need. So I really want to focus in on the different columns you can come up with.
Okay.
So, for example, this particular client, I'm trying to control their disbursements a little bit. And we implemented Bill.com. So I have some members of management that go send bills right up to Bill.com. I don't have to worry about it. And then they may have another office that they might get bills for this department. I don't want them going straight to Bill.com. I want to control them a little bit. So she'll come on here and she will attach a copy of the bill. And I have you can set up drop down, custom design your little drop downs.
Nice.
Okay, done. Yes, hold NA for Bill.com for me to look at. Okay, so this area right here, I'm not going to show them all to you, but she said, I got this odd bill. It came to my office instead of yours. Here's a copy of it, how much it is, and the date she put it on there. And then I have other managers that can come in here, grab it, and put it on Bill.com. Or and I'll I just keep a control of it. Yes, it made it to Bill.com. If I wanted a copy down on my server, sometimes they'll run a manual. And some of these columns really belong with a different area. Okay, so the Bill.com, the miscellaneous bills for Bill.com is rarely used. It's sort of I allowed for that odd scenario. The debit card's rarely used. It's getting posted, through the downloads, but I don't want to run this through Bill.com, and it's not done very often. So if somebody has the receipt where they've used the debit card, they'll attach the receipt, they'll say how much it is, and I have a way to check off whether I got it posted in, QuickBooks. You can make simple little check marks. And then the non-AP checks, or sometimes there's checks that I don't run through accounts payable, like, with nonprofits we'll have like a scholarship maybe that has a whole bunch of paperwork that needs to go with the check. So they will print a check, print a check, attach a copy of the backup, and then this gives me just a control to make sure that manual checks are done. So this sheet became our conversation space for disbursements.
So instead of emailing back and forth, we got this odd bill, we got this odd debit transaction. We don't know what to do with it.
If I have a question like that, I've got the discussions over here, and I'll start a discussion, and it's wonderful because I got a date and time stamp. Everybody can be involved. You can ignore it if it doesn't have anything to do with you.
If you have a line item that you want somebody to follow up on, you can request.
Right. I can click on a row and hit update request, and it'll actually send this row to a send this row to someone in an email. They don't even have to be a part of this sheet or part of the authorized users.
Sarah, can you show that? That's something I've been wanting. I
Oh,
hear
really?
that talk about.
That's what
And I want to see that happen live. I've always
Right.
wanted to see that happen live.
That's a good idea. 1, 2, 3. Let me see if I need some info in here. Backup status. Okay, so this is for Sarah to look at. It's a $50,000 mess.
While Sarah's doing that, I just kind of wanted to put in 2 cents. So I totally agree with Sarah in regards to, I guess for me, since I have 2 distinct practices, I have a tax practice and I have a bookkeeping, small business consulting practice. I agree that for the accounting side, I've taken all my clients out of emails, which is funny because I'm like extreme. It was like all we were doing is emailing back and forth, and I was
group emails and
and I would have to search for the email, and I'd have to collect the email, and then they would attach things to emails, and so that was just not working for me. And so for my bookkeeping practice and my accounting practice, I use SmartSheets basically the way she's showing it. I have a sheet, and every client has its own sheet, and pretty much it's a yearly sheet with every month on it. And then I use the discussions that she was showing to the left to basically talk back and forth with the client. So all of their transactions are on one SmartSheet. But for the tax practice, you have to think about it like every client is just that individual client for that small little time frame. And so it's not like we're emailing all year long. We're emailing for like 2 weeks. That's it.
Right.
And so that's why it's very different.
It's a short job.
It's a very short job. And it closes. That's the thing with the accounting. It never closes. So it's frustrating. Yeah.
Never ending.
It never ends. So I totally agree with you. For accounting, it didn't work. Actually, to be honest with you, unfortunately, I tried it with my bookkeeping clients, 17 hats, and it seemed like it was just all over the place. But for the tax practice, it worked beautifully. Yeah.
I love you have an annual job. It has a contract. It has a beginning and an end.
Right.
This one, I was looking at 17 hats and I thought, once I have that initial contract, then it just goes into day to day.
Right.
So this update request, okay, so it's like who you want to send it to. It made there's always one column that's the master column for the sheet. So update request from 50 grand has to, the amount column must be my master. CC me, I can edit and all columns or just send them specific fields that you want them to complete.
That's nice.
Yeah. So if edit, I can send it. This is where Seth was talking about,
the collections. That's what he calls the collection.
You can say, send this once,
right?
Daily, weekly. You can harass the hell out of them until you turn it off. Okay. So, or you can send it, next week. So that's pretty powerful, and it comes up in an email.
So what does it look like when it's in the email?
Well, let's go see.
I'm putting the pressure on you. I want to see what the whole thing looks like.
This is great because I was doing it to you with 17 hats.
Exactly.
All right, let me.
Can I mention something? I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah.
Barely. One of the things, because I've used this for a long time too. And
I'm sorry, Jan, can you speak up a little bit? You are very low.
Yeah, sorry, it's my voice. I was going to say, when you have it for bookkeeping and you were saying it goes on and on, there's a feature where you can have it highlight the last transaction. It's over on the left and it's like a little highlighter. That always helped me out because
Oh,
we're
yeah.
always making so many transactions. And I was like, oh, I've got to find a way to get through this because those things get so long. It's not like Marietta's tax clients, right, where they're just short.
Well, I'll show you how I'm dealing with some of that.
I
Let me
have
go
a
back.
question for Sarah and Mariette. If you're sending a collection letter and you're asking it to repeat and repeat, once you get payment, you have to go in there manually and tell it to stop sending, right?
Right. You're right.
Okay.
You're right. Do you see my email?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so open update form. Cool.
Oh, that's cool.
I made like a web form out of it.
Sure did.
Back up
So you-
attached.
So you update it and it automatically will be in your sheet once
Right.
it's done. Oh, that's awesome.
And this person, whoever you email, doesn't even have to be part of SmartSheets.
It doesn't
Right.
even look like SmartSheets at all.
Yeah, just
It
like a
looks like
form.
just a fill-in form.
And then I've got my logo. That's awesome. Yeah.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah. So
That's really
it's really good for audits. So it's one of the all right, let's see. Okay, so all right, so that's just the one sample. I'm trying to think. Let me find one that's I didn't do.
Now, Sarah, this is something that I think I kind of struggle with smart sheets with, again, the bookkeeping, is
Uh-huh.
that do you use several sheets for one bookkeeping client or do you do?
I do a workspace. I may do multiple workspace. Like I have one workspace that only managers can see. See, the sharing is by workspace, not by sheet. I hate
Right.
that.
Right.
So I'll have multiple workspaces. Like I have one for just managers. I have one that anybody can see. I have one just the audit team and management can see. So my bookkeepers, the managers, the office staff. Okay, everybody can pretty much keep up with payables, receivables, to-do lists, things like that. What I wanted to do. I started. Can't show this to you without.
Is there a field we can fill in and see what it looks like on the Smartsheet? That's not.
No, I wanted to show you a sample. I could have sworn I made that. Oh, sample client pending. Thank you. All right, here we go. This was more of a month-end client, not a daily bookkeeping, where I started listing things that I needed. Get with the CPA for year-end depreciation, calculate this, go over parking. I've got a miscellaneous, and you just start inserting things that you need to do. I also had some major things in the future. The client can leave me questions.
So you would create that sheet for each client?
Every client has their own sheet.
So I mean, each client would have its own just pending list sheet in addition to all its other sheets.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Right. They'll have a whole workspace of sheets, and each sheet,
workspace of sheets. Okay, got it.
Each sheet controls a different type thing.
Okay, I get it.
Let's see. Sample. Okay, this one. See, I don't do these so much anymore because what I wanted to show you was one. Somebody's eating, making me hungry. Okay, this is one where it's a client that handles their own deposits, and I was having difficulty getting the backup to the deposits. So I taught him to just batch his information for the deposit, and he's gotten in the habit of scanning it, and he just drops a copy here, and he just simply goes date, who's done the deposit, the date, who made it, is it attached? Then my bookkeepers come in. Do they get it in QuickBooks? Was it reviewed? Has a copy been downloaded?
So do you share most of your sheets with your clients?
Yes.
Wait, why don't you use the web forms instead of the sheets?
For this, the web form would be perfect.
Yeah, the web form would be great for this because then all they have is a link and anybody then, whether it's his secretary, whether it's him.
Without even coming into the sheet.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I have another question. Can you snap a picture on your phone and email it in?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I would love to have stuff going into a inbox that then I can decide what to do. So then we start looking at, things like HubDoc and things like that. Let me show you.
Can I ask you guys a question? How would you feel if this integrated with like HubDoc and Bill.com and 17 Sheets? Would you want that?
Yes, because I haven't had any problem getting clients, staff, in on the SmartSheet. It's familiar to them. They're comfortable with it. They're not afraid of it like other programs. And if I could just use it for all that detail and conversations, but yet have another program that does a better job of stepping back and looking at everything that's going on. Like Dennis has gotten really good with, you can actually make a master sheet that looks at other sheets.
Yep.
And Michelle brought that up. Can you make a template for similar tasks for multiple clients? Can you see an overview of all clients as well as individual sheets so you can prioritize? We'll get to those questions.
Yeah, I've got some samples of those too.
And that's actually what I did with my with our project tracking. There's a main project list, and then when we're ready to bring a project online, so I'll create a separate SmartSheet, link it to the main project list, so you can always have access from that main project list to these to the project detail, so you can go and see what the steps are, what's happening with current things.
And you get a higher level view, overview.
Much more detail, a task.
Sarah, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have multiple sheets for one client and you have multiple workspaces, because every client is a workspace, right? That's how you built it.
Right.
So I'm assuming you have a workflow for your team on how they go and they get onto every one of those clients.
Right. And some bookkeepers don't see workspaces of other bookkeepers too.
Okay.
So
you created a workflow on what you need to do in each workspace.
Right. And so as they were doing work, I said, insert it. I don't know why I didn't. What I want is a copy of a really good bookkeeping book, because there is daily checklist, there's monthly checklist, there's quarterly checklist, and let me show you. Maybe this will give you some idea. This was my master sheet for all my W-2s and 1099s that I've hidden. And I did things like one of the staff initials. Then I set up a condition format that says if it's A, turn her to a light tan. And so, and I can also
love those conditions. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
So then the cycle, I have different. I think of my clients. I've got weekly bookkeeping clients. Some of the just monthly closings, some are just quarterly closings, some are payroll quarterlies only, some are payroll clients, some are just 1099 only. And so this enables me to sort lists when I'm trying to see, where I am, which version of QuickBooks are they still on. This was my master year end for, did I bill them? What kind of entity? Comments, is the data here? Sometimes they're on QBox, sometimes they'll put copies up on ShareFile. My in-house clients, those were all already here. And if I were to open this, I actually have it blacked out. Did I send an engagement letter? Did it come in? Have I tested their 1099s? Okay. The DOL was important. So a lot of these were simply checklists. When I got down to here, some of the clients had us mail for them. Check this out. I have, if I hesitate on that field, you start seeing some normal Excel type ideas. The function is the number of stamps, okay, times the field, which is the 49 cents, and then the amount.
That's so awesome. I love that. I'm so glad you showed this because I didn't even think about creating a smart sheet for my 1099s.
Well, here's why I really have
Awesome.
a smart sheet, and I can't show you past this, but actually I have a grand total for all the W-2s for the whole my whole practice, and then the next column is
How much you charge?
grand total in box 1. W3.
Oh, nice.
The next one's how many 1099s and the grand total on the 1096. Okay, with a grand total, because what will happen is I process all the work, I hang back until March, and then I e-file
Right.
all the 1099s. And I need a control to make sure that what is e-filed matches my entire practice.
I love that. I'm literally going to make a smart sheet of that after this call. Thank you so much for showing it.
So I have checklists for the entire process of a W-2 from beginning all the way to end, and the very last thing is it recorded on my master sheet. If there's a number and an amount here, I know I'm completely done. All right, so that was one sample. Let's see, the client, don't say that. Oh, the audit one. I already showed you that one. Deposits, disbursements.
So onboarding, that was one of the questions. Do you have a sheet?
That'd be an easy one. Anything with a checklist. Anything that's a checklist, you can. Let me
Well, the other thing too is you can
let me find a sample. My public one. Here we go. I knew I had them.
Hang on a second, Mark. Yes?
there's interesting things in there, like, and you probably have gone over this stuff, like conditional formatting of cells. So if something's over, you can have that task's name in red. The due date's passed, so you can see all your things that are overdue. And then it goes beyond that too. You can have alerts and on that type of thing as well. But and something I don't know probably won't get into here, but if you have tasks assigned to other people, and they are actual SmartSheet users, you can get a feel for whether you've got people overcommitted or not. That goes back to the project management side of things. You can say, okay, these tasks are going to take hours. And depending on how many tasks there are to do over X number of days, then it can tell you whether somebody's overcommitted or not, time-wise. So you can use that for spreading work around, and if you're working with several different bookkeepers or staff or however.
Right.
I'm going to show you a sheet. I think I have hidden everything. This is a master sheet for one client.
And so
This is for one client that has weekly work. So they have a work day that's usually a Wednesday. Work has to be in by a certain time. We process on a certain day. Disbursements per their office is always on a Friday. So we batch payables in a weekly type idea. Okay. So bookkeeping. So miscellaneous to-dos. I have a section for done because I have it set up. Oh, here. I set it up so that when you click closed or done, it crosses it out. And this one has the highlighter turned on that, forgot your name, mentioned, which means I have it set up that every time I come into a sheet, if somebody has posted something since the last time I was in the sheet, it'll be highlighted in yellow, which is great because it makes you go, to look.
I have a question.
It turned yellow as soon as I checked it. Yeah.
I have a question. Can you put like some logic on a date? For example, if at now is greater than the the date that you put in, then it would turn to like red so that you know it's overdue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was talking about. You can have
Yeah.
that conditional formatting of the cells.
And they have
You
an
can actually,
unbelievable library of sample sheets that you can just wade through and go, how do they do that? And you look at the
well,
formula,
and you're
and, you know.
using some conditional formatting there, right? Because of the crossouts.
Right. So
So
for
you can show that conditional formatting.
yeah, the condition is if this.
Open it up. Okay.
Well, it might show client employee names, so I don't want to do that right now. All right, so let me just basically this is my master sheet for the bookkeeper for this client, and this is a reoccurring every week job. Miscellaneous to-dos that are done, we will grab a row when it's done and maybe just hide it, so it never goes away, but it gets collapsed, so I don't have all this clutter. And if a sheet does get too full, maybe at the end of the year, I will start a brand new sheet and then archive off the old sheet. Questions and miscellaneous to-dos, and you can set up, can you see the formula? It's in light gray. It says if this field, you name the field and you tell it to count anything that's indented underneath it. So there are 7 rows underneath this section. So when I clicked the negative sign and it collapsed 6 rows.
Okay, so the children are the rows beneath and the parents at top. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and it shows you on the title there how many there are.
Yeah, so that is a specific formula that I put on that row, and then I highlighted a bunch of rows and I hit indent and it became a child of this. And you can have children of children of children. So we have a main area up at the top for questions. Clients can just hit the enter, ask a question. We've got things like, where are we? Who's got the ball? Is it critical? We can do flags. Request date's really important because people will look here and realize, I'll come in and go, hey, this has been on your list for 2 months.
When the client makes an entry, does it trigger like an email or any kind of notification?
It can. So the alerts can be as detailed as send Sarah an email if anything changes, if only this field changes, this field, or this field, or an attachment, immediately, once a day, once a week. Sometimes if there's a lot of activity on a sheet, you feel like you're being spammed.
Sarah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dennis.
I suppose if a number was greater than you were expecting, you could probably trigger that too, right? If such and such greater than, a certain amount, then you trigger anything.
I don't know about that.
What do you mean? Try and trigger what?
Like if an amount field or a field has an answer, I think it's more activity on that field than a conditional within a field.
Sarah, do you get a notification? You just noticed, like you said, if you get an attachment or discussion, do you get a notification when someone discusses on the field?
I can set it up to do that. And I do.
Oh, I like
My
that.
alerts are usually a discussion, an attachment, maybe the comment. I try not to let them comment over in another column. Yeah, I need to make a template that I can show. This list right here every Friday has a batch, and it could be, did the work come in? Is it attached? Because this particular client scans their entire batch of bills once a week. Anything that's a checklist, we've made this checklist, and see, we'll start archiving off, and we'll take this checklist, copy and paste. It's just like Excel, copy and paste to do the next week.
So is that how you share templates? Are you copying, pasting?
Yeah, I stopped really making templates because everybody's not only unique, but say there's something that happens and you go, you know what, this happens every single month or every single week. Put it on the sheet, and then when we copy to the next week, start the new area for the next week, it's now incorporated in the new week.
Okay, well, that was one of the questions, was the templates. Can you use templates over with other?
I can right click on this up here and save it as a whole new template. If I save as new, it says, do you want to
There's save as new, and then there's save as a template.
Right. Save as a template saves really a shell. without all the data. But you can save as new and say, all right, bring me my layout, but leave all the discussions and the attachments behind. I'll do that if like at the end of the year and I want to start a new sheet. Portal, it's really, it's whatever, you know what I found was every bookkeeper had their own method. And one thing that working with SmartSheets did was started to see where we were all similar, what was working, what wasn't working, and we started to systematize how we did things. So some bookkeepers they just do a bang up job, and you never bother. They don't bother you, you don't bother them. And this sort of brought us together and went, that's a really good idea. I didn't know you were doing that. And then this one, so. That's where we are now. Is now that we have worksheets really working well for the problem children. I want to say. Now the bookkeepers that have their own systems, I want to now go client by client, get them set up on SmartSheets, because we have an emergency. I need to be able to go see, what do you do every week? If I have a bookkeeper that's worked for me for 15 years, and we've had clients that we've had for a long time, this stuff starts ending up in your head. I always do this. I always get that. I get it from so-and-so. And all those picky little details may be on a spreadsheet somewhere, but if we can get my entire practice here, and if there's an emergency,
then anyone can step in for anyone
any of us
else.
should be able to step in. And so I've got LastPass with all the passwords. I've got the nitpicky little checklists here. I've got looking for documents and working with clients here. Some of the sheets the clients never see. It's all just really our internal
Workflow, right?
workflow. Exactly.
Yeah, it's a,
it's there isn't one way to do it.
yeah, just the same way that people use spreadsheets for all different kinds of things. It's going to be the same thing here. And one thing I don't know that did you bring up the audit prep?
The audit one, that's a really good one.
If you're preparing a client for an audit and auditors and there's this is one way I've seen it used is for information requests.
Right.
So you can keep all that stuff so you don't have multiple auditors asking for the same information. There's one place to go. There's the line item. It says this is what it is, and here's where it is. And attachment. If there's something they need to download, it's there as an attachment. Mm-hmm. So they've got it.
Talk about getting everybody out of emails.
Yeah. So there's not this constant email flurry. Well, do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have that? It's there, on the list.
And I think it helps get the information from the client or who you're getting it from easier too.
Right.
Just to be able to email them and have them return that email and enter it saves work for you too.
Mm-hmm. Well, every audit has an audit checklist.
Oh, right. Yes.
And so, I started with my biggest and baddest, hardest audit. Consolidated 3 divisions, the whole bit, and where a team of auditors, was coming in, and the name of the game is get them in and out as quickly as possible. So
the auditors loved it,
and the auditors loved it. And I just went, look, okay. So we have demoed this before, but I'll show it briefly. You can do link, here's my link to their share file. I had a link to a reoccurring Zoom meeting. So if one of the auditors needed me,
it's a secret.
They could actually, they don't need a password if they use the link I figured out. Poke on this, I get ding dong.
Wow.
Call me first and say, hey, can we talk at 2:00? Okay. But, many, many, many times, and we have people all over the country. So, hey, 2 o'clock on Thursday. Let's get together. We got to knock out some of this, and boom, boom, boom. We're all together on a Zoom meeting. We were answering the sheet at the same time. I mean, at one point we had six, 7 people in the sheet at the same time. So
Wow.
I started saying, where the documents were. I said we had the different divisions. And sometimes I didn't want to have like the trial balance listed 3 times. So what I did was I said trial balance, and then in a columnar fashion, I said, I've got it, attached, or it's in share file and in SmartSheets, who's got the ball. And so we started attaching a lot of the documents here. And then as the auditor started asking questions, the first thing in my mind was, what didn't I give them in an easy enough fashion that they're even asking a question? So it really started building how, I started adding things that really we're going to be ready for them next year. So they didn't really put that many questions at the top. They actually, like if I go down, usually they start auditing, like it's gathering records, but then they start auditing cash. And they'd have one auditor that's auditing all the cash accounts, and another one's working on AR, another one's working on AP. And sometimes they'd overlap. They'd ask a question down here, and I'd say, oh, Susie's working on it. Go look at row such and such. Except that every time you inserted, the row numbers would change. But you could do a link to the row.
Yep. You just email them a link to the row.
See?
Yep.
Everything in here I want to go, So, extra brain.
Good thing we're recording this.
I know. So this was a huge audit. And so I designed it. Actually, I cut and pasted it right out of their
audit check sheet.
Audit checklist. And AR, property and management, or property, plant and equipment, prepaids, accounts payable, revenue.
And you bring up a good point there. You can, if you've got an existing spreadsheet, you can copy and paste it into this format,
you really don't have to
adjust the columns, the configuration of the columns as you need it.
Right. And then now this sheet, the whole area in the top is now they have a whole nother department at the CPA firm working on the 990 on the tax return.
Hmm.
So they're coming in fresh and asking the same stuff that they asked for the audit. So, I can
say, here's SmartSheet, figure it out.
It's there. And so the field audit was the shortest we've ever done.
Nice.
Some of it got really funny because we had, usually they put the field auditors down on the first floor, and management was like a couple floors above them. They were talking to one another, and one of the managers said, "This feels so weird that we're not running up and down."
Nice.
Yeah, so audit prep is a huge part of what I do. So that's just huge for me.
So this is affecting people's health?
It's affecting people's health.
Because they're not getting the
exercise. You're right.
Let me see if we have any questions. And then I want to move on to Dennis's sheet, because that was one of the specific questions was, how is Dennis using his SmartSheet for his tax prep clients?
Okay.
Take it away.
Oh, okay. You want me to share my screen?
Well, whatever you want to do.
Go
Okay.
ahead. There's a lot of, I was not paying attention to chat, and there's a lot in there now.
Read the chat.
Sorry.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, you're into colors too.
Yeah. I'm a very visual person. So one question I had, maybe someone else knows, is this is a filtered view. Can I save this as a separate file or something? Because whenever I open it, I have to, when I close SmartSheet, it comes back.
The filter's on?
Yeah, the filters, they don't hold as a So this is kind of like, here's where my clients are. I was motivated. I saw you. I think I'm going to start putting the version of QuickBooks that people have on, at least on the business.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've got a section where I've got all the detail and I can put in notes and things to do. But where I really use it is on the filtering. And I've always wanted to have kind of an overall summary page of keeping track of where everybody is. And I've added a few things, like I've added a total row up here. And I haven't, what I'd like to do, I have a database background in using like OR queries. And it seems like all you can do is AND queries on SmartSheet, because I like to have like maybe more than one category as a like highest and maybe high or whatever. But what I've done is that I've color coded these so that I can also go and filter on different stages, so I can see filter on this column. And I use one as both as a counter and as an indicator. So I can see these are the ones that are in process, and I've got, you know, partial information here. I can go back and remove the filter, and I can go in and the ones that haven't started yet, filter. So I can see the ones that I haven't started, but I've got the information. So these would be on my list of next ones to do, so I can kind of keep track of who's, you know, got stuff in. And then what I've been doing is, this is more of a manual thing, but I've gone in and started putting in today's priority, and this is always changing, but at least it kind of gives me a focus of where I want to, you know, devote my energies. And here I can see the ones that are out for review, and so I can follow up with them. And so it's just basically to get a real summary of what I'm doing, just to have an overall summary, so that although I might feel overwhelmed, at least I feel like I'm managing it, you know.
You're not letting pieces drop through the cracks.
Yeah, that's especially on the extensions. That's a big piece.
That was a place where it got you. So, yeah. Dennis, when you're using your SmartSheet, you're using this sheet all throughout the tax season.
Yes.
Do you update it every night before you leave your office?
Well, it's kind of updated in the process, like when I've finished it and it's ready for double check, or when I've put it out for client review. So it kind of, you know, I make.
So you leave this open, and when you're ready to, when the information comes in, you immediately change whatever you need to on the sheet.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a dashboard where I go back and look at it. I mean, I practically live in my CRM for when I'm working in terms of getting passwords and emails. But once I move on to another client, or if I get information in, then I will, you know, look at it. And usually I look at the first thing in the morning to see which ones, you know, I want to focus on, and maybe change the priority from
which ones need the immediate attention.
Yeah, like for example, like I promised this one client to have it done by Sunday, you know, so that will move up in priority tomorrow.
Right, right.
But for right now, it's kind of a combination of which ones I've had the longest, which ones that are going to be easiest to do and get some cash flow coming in, which ones do I have the information for, which ones are bugging me, you know. So it's kind of a mixture of things that goes into how I decide the priorities.
Right. Do we still have Mariette with us?
Yes, I'm still here. Working away on taxes, just like Dennis. But I'm here.
Do you have a sheet you can share that you use with your tax practice? I know this is quick, and I don't want you to give up your.
No, I can show you really quickly. Let me show you real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing.
Let's see here.
I know it's hard to hide
Yeah, hold on. I want to see what I'm sharing. Okay.
You can
Well,
hide columns, but you can't hide rows.
well,
unless
actually, you know what?
collapse
I'll
them.
be honest with you. I had a lot of people because Dennis and can you see my screen?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
You see the SmartSheet. Yeah. So I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I give props where they're deserved. So Dennis showed this off last year, because showed pretty much the idea, and then it looks like we all have our own different columns, but
Yeah.
So I was struggling with being able to see everything at once, and I understood how incredibly important it was. So when I saw SmartSheets and I saw how Dennis was using it, and then I just took a weekend, and whoever wants to do this, you really need to take time. Like, I know you feel overwhelmed and it's so much information, so you need to just stop stressing out and just do it, because it's going to be an amazing improvement in your practice. And
Yeah.
that means it's going to take investment. So it may take a few hours, it may take all day. We're all different levels of tech savvy. So I'll be honest, it probably took me like a day. And then after that, like Dennis mentioned, you're constantly kind of improving it and adding
Yeah.
columns and removing columns, because then
Tweaking
you
it.
realize,
Yeah.
you're tweaking it at all times.
Yep.
So this is my my tweaked tax season spreadsheet over 1 year. What I basically do is let's start with the bottom and then go to the top. So this is kind of at its most simplest level. This is my spreadsheet. So my project tasks are my clients. My status are my basic statuses. So this is the one where I told you that it pretty much mirrors 17 hats. So gather documents, submit documents. It's a work in progress. I finalize, I pay, assign, and then I'm waiting for the acts, the acknowledgements, and it's complete. So as Dennis mentioned, this is like ongoing. So it's not really like update during the day, update at the end of the day. It's update all day.
Yeah.
So this is up all day long. So I have my taxes on one screen and I have my SmartSheet on the other. Literally, that's
Yep.
how I work. And so, like, for instance, let's pretend this was a client. So this would be, client number 1. And forget misspelling because I'm going fast. And then the very first thing I do is gather documents, and then I have this detailed status. Now this is where I give myself my note, because I don't want to rewrite the note every time on where I'm at. So it's like a more detailed status of the basic status. So is it ready to prep? Am I going to do a remote meeting with the client? Is the client going to come to my Ontario office? Have I sent them their checklist? Because I actually sent them a detailed checklist on everything they have to send to me. So this is much more detail on where I am with the
Fire client. I saw
Oh goodness, I shouldn't show you that. Oh goodness.
Yeah, put that in. Put that
Oh,
in.
that's funny.
Part
Oh
of-
my gosh.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
all
part of
part
your
of it.
business. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, that's funny. So yeah, obviously very detailed. This is not for anybody else to see but me. So
But
and
you're
then
not limited to those checklists. Those are just to help you speed up typing.
that's to help me speed up typing. Exactly. And then priority, just like Dennis, high priority. See how it went red into, bold red. So if something is high priority, first of all, it goes into my high priority count, and it also turns into bright yellow red. So again, it gives me that sense of urgency. And then the rest of my columns. So again, this varies on what you feel is important for you to be able to see in one time. So my start date, my due date, have I did my first review, my final review, do they owe taxes? So obviously anyone that owes taxes, I have to finish them quickly, right? Because I can't extend them. Should I do tax planning with them? Did I quote them one amount and did I bill them a different amount? That for me is very important. Email addresses and stuff like that. So that's kind of very, very basic, but then I took Dennis's idea, but I did it differently than him. I don't have a separate sheet for the counts. My counts are on the same exact sheet right here. And so what this basically does is it counts, kind of like what Sarah was showing, it counts what's on the bottom of the sheet. So if I have, like, for instance, 2 clients that are in gathered document stage, then it'll say 2 up here. If I so basically whatever their status is, it'll
Right.
give me the count. So that's how I use my counts. And so, obviously if I have 50 in gathered documents and only 3 in work in progress, there's a big problem going on. You know what I mean? So that's when I really start stressing out. So,
Well, how are you using this in conjunction with 17 hats? So your processes in 17 hats are pretty much automated, So you're
Right.
gathering docs. You have templates that you send out?
So yeah, so this is how I do it in 17 Hats. So first, just so you know, I did not implement them both at the same time. There was no way I was going to do that. I needed to really capture and master SmartSheets first, even though I knew I wanted to use 17 Hats. But I was not going to tackle both integrations of two different apps at the same time. That was going to be too hard. Because I also, just so you know, to throw up something else in the mix, I use Asana as well. I use that with my staff to collaborate. So
Okay.
I was using SmartSheets and I was using Asana, and I wanted to use 17 Hats, but there's no way I was going to do that. So then this year, what I did is I said, okay, so I've created, like I showed you my workflow. And even before I went into SmartSheets, what I had is actually, I already had a 5-point plan. So before I even used SmartSheets, I already had a process of how I work with my clients. I did it all in Excel. So I already had a process, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I moved that process into SmartSheets. And then after I used that, moved that process into SmartSheets, I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to move that process into 17 Hats. So at that point, obviously the first thing you do is you have to create those same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s as templates. And then after you create them as templates, then you have to create them as workflows. So, for instance, this workflow right here has 11 steps, and it starts with number 1, gather documents. Number 2, so literally it mirrors it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like Sarah was saying, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, guys. Okay, I want to teach somebody how to do this, and I want to be hanging out, on the beach. So
We're going to go to Hawaii and visit.
Yeah, we all got to
Doug.
go together. Exactly. So I want someone to be able to be so, clear on my process where they can say, okay, Mariette, so as long as I understand how you run your business, and I understand how you run your SmartSheet, and I understand how you run your workflows, then I can pretty much work for you. And so that's my idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
My employees have learned that if something gets dropped or they're complaining about something, that something isn't done, they know better now, because I'll go put it on a Smartsheet.
Exactly. Put it on a Smartsheet, and
Assign it to me for it,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
Exactly. So
March
that's how they work together.
All right. So one of the things that that came up in a couple of, with Dennis about the saved filters and in your sheet there, where you had all your information at the top, there is a report feature, and I don't think there's a way to save the filters. Dennis, I think what you were going for is like a saved view.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Just like it's like a.
You could just create a couple of them. You could say, for not started, and I have the information, so that okay, these are the ones I can get going on today.
Yeah, like a database query where you have it. Yeah. You can't do that in.
Save that, but you can't. But there is a reports feature, and I don't know enough about it to take a look. I haven't played a lot with it, so that might be something where you could create certain reports that you could go and look at each day, because it pulls that information, and it can pull, I think, from multiple sheets as well.
And you can refresh the reports, I assume.
Yeah, it does. It rolls up into the report. Yeah. So and Mary, that could be where you could even take the top of your sheet there. And put it in a report.
Ooh, I like that idea.
Just have that main sheet is where all your client tracking is. So you have all the client tracking in the sheet, and then your summary, which you're really not working, not doing a whole lot of work with your summary. It's your summary is on a report.
So right here, this information up here.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that idea.
Saying we'd have to play with it and see, but it's possible that I don't, like I said, I haven't worked with the reports. I don't know, but that's one possibility.
You know what I would love, considering you said that, and I'm going to put it in my Trello, because I also use my Trello. So I'm literally going to put it in my Trello right now. But I would love, if that's the case, to have it like emailed to me every night, or like a notification saying, look at your report. And it literally just be my count.
I think it will email the reports on a schedule.
Oh, I love that. Okay, I'm gonna look into
there
that.
There you go, Dennis. You can have it emailed to you first thing in the morning.
You have to look at that.
Every time we get together and look at one of these things, and really any program, it is amazing how we can just brainstorm and and
Make
share.
it work.
Yeah, it's a little difficult today because it's going to be, put it up for public consumption. But, I wouldn't mind a private meeting where we're all accountants and, we could really,
That's a possibility.
something that's not really recorded.
Right, right. So if you accidentally show something that you don't want the world to see.
It's hard, but every time I look at somebody else's Smartsheet, you start getting ideas.
Yeah.
What was I going to show you real quick?
You're kind of limited by yourself, but when you get other people's, knowledge.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Where was it? When you invite somebody to Smartsheets, they get a free account for an entire month that lets them design and set up their own sheets. They don't sign up for their own paid account. They are now, they still have access to the sheets that are shared with them.
Yeah, it's unlimited.
I can share
clients.
this.
They only have limited capabilities in what they can do.
Right. So they can't create a new sheet. Say.
And they can't.
What kind of cost are we talking?
I think I'm paying, I want to say $600 a year for a team of 5, maybe.
I'm only paying like I'm only paying like 17 a month, but I got the very basic one. I don't really.
Yeah, I think I'll get the basic one. It looks wonderful. I assume that you can link different worksheets to other worksheets and that, and then they'll just.
Yes, you
it's
can.
like
You
Excel.
can pull a link from another sheet in a cell.
Every time you go to set up a fresh sheet, you get they show you a whole list of samples.
Got it.
And so they have a sheet of formulas. So
what's nice is you can do the filtering. The filtering and the conditional formatting kind of makes things jump out at you, at least for me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But if you're working on a project, say I'm remodeling the office or, just the sky's the limit. You can do website links. You can attach pictures. It's just.
I could use this for my diet.
Oh, absolutely.
For tracking the food I eat and everything.
Yeah. It's kind of limited by your creativity.
Yeah, I would guess that could be used for almost anything.
Yeah.
Well, you know what Seth used it for, which I thought was a genius one day when we were hanging out talking? He used it for his grocery list.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, which I thought was so brilliant. It's a great idea. It's the same list every single time.
Yeah, I think it has a mobile app too.
It does.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Sarah, would you the choir singing thing? Can you post that on your Facebook page or something so we can copy it? I love that.
Sure.
So before we go,
sometimes that right there.
Feature.
I love it.
That right there? Yeah.
Yes.
I'll post it.
Before we go, does anybody else have any questions? Michelle, I know you put a lot in the chat. I'm not sure that I got all of your questions answered.
Create an error that
Unmute.
does a count.
Isn't that in the bottom left-hand corner? It is.
Let's see. Michelle said, gathering docs. Do you have a master list or template for the docs you're looking for? If it's reoccurring type docs, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and some of that's, I think, geared toward Marriott, where she was showing the.
Oh, the
docs.
Marriott. Yeah. Is she here?
I know she was muted. Unshare.
She just was commenting.
Oh, am I sharing? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I apologize.
No, that's okay. Michelle, are you with us? Can you unmute?
She's still logged on.
Well, she may not have a microphone or a cam.
And she also might have stepped out of the room.
Right.
We can't really tell.
Okay.
All righty. Well, we could keep on with this for another hour.
This is
addictive.
We need to be sharing a lot more among ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what this group is all about, is the sharing these kind of things between us. I think it's going to help.
Working on her webcam headset thing
Yeah.
in the chat. That's what it says. It's not working. It's not working. Oh my God. I will need some help next week on that big client that I got. They want the beginning inventory and the ending inventory on the profit and loss.
Okay.
I know, Sarah, I know. Under cost of goods sold. And, I just decided I'm not going to. Well,
what?
our accountant's always done it that way. And I'm
You
thinking,
know what? It's like a nonprofit who wants to see their fixed asset and capital purchases on the P&L, even though the balance sheet movement, but because they want to budget it or something. So you let them.
I hear what you're saying. I'm
With contra accounts maybe in, out, where the net effect of the P&L is really a zero.
Yeah, that's what I have to do. And it has to work with the purchases cost of goods sold too. So I've just made 2 more. And we'll see if I can make it work. I have another CPA locally that's going to help me with it because I helped her with something. So but if I need some help, I may call on you.
Out of the box.
Sounds like more of a cash flow statement to me.
There's got to be a reason that management wants it that way.
Right.
Sometimes you have
The
to
reason they want it that way is they've always had it that way.
Well, yeah, that's a bad reason, but if you can get to the root of why they think they need that or what the
Or what they're
Well,
using.
see, and I showed them the balance sheet showing them the beginning inventory at the beginning of every month and the end on the balance sheet.
Yeah.
And no, we want
the P&L. I know. Yeah. As long as you can show movement on a P&L where the net effect doesn't hurt.
Yes.
anything.
That's what I'm going to try to do. But if I run into problems, I mean, it seems like it ought to be
Creative
possible.
group, We can-
Yeah. Thank you. This is a great. I'm going to get SmartSheets. I love it.
Look at this.
Who's got an
Yeah,
affiliate?
who's you gonna credit? Because we're all.
Sarah, do you have an affiliate?
Credit
I
Sarah.
think
Credit
I'm number 39.
Sarah, credit yourself.
Okay, she's number 39. I
Okay.
can write it
Give
down.
it to Sarah.
Sarah.
You were the one who gave us the most information today, although
Oh, I mean,
Jan made some good.
Mary-
No, hey, you know what?
Hey, Mark's like, hey.
You can credit me for 17 hats, okay? So I'm the 17 hats
There you
girl.
go.
Take her for SmartSheets. It's all good.
There you go.
Hey, really quickly in regards to the pricing, something that because when you start getting a lot of apps, it gets pricey.
Yeah.
So the key is, and I think Sarah, is that your husband, Sarah?
Yeah, smart.
Oh, hi. Okay.
Mark.
I didn't want to call him your husband unless he was. So her husband mentioned that the template versus new sheets. So to keep the price down, you can create templates. But if you save it as a new sheet, you're getting charged. If you save it as a template, you're not.
Or
So
and if you delete it, you're really archiving.
Right.
So you can start
Exactly.
Deleting things. Oh, and I'll take a sheet and I'll drop it into a PDF, and it'll bring all the comments
Yeah,
with it. It'll
Exactly.
bring,
Yeah, that's
you
one
know,
thing we
I
did
can
talk about.
archive that way.
Yeah, so that'll save you some money because it could get pricey. At first, I was getting charged a lot, and then I realized I went crazy on the sheets. And now I pay, I think, $30 a month, and I just create templates. I don't create tons of sheets.
I haven't hit my max. Maybe because don't you get like 100 or 150 sheets?
150. Yeah, but I was going like above that, believe it or not.
Wow.
Crazy. I know. I can be a little nuts sometimes.
Well, sometimes like on payroll sheets, we'll do a separate sheet. Well, now we're learning to stack. We were doing separate sheets and starting a new sheet instead of starting an area collapsing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Stacking is the key. Stacking, definitely.
But any client who's still sending us hours for payroll, SmartSheet. Well, we could talk all night long on this stuff. But
Yeah. All right.
Alrighty. Well, I think that was an amazing demo, Sarah. Thank you. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Mariette.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
I'll try not to melt out
Bye.
here.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.